Wealth is what you do not see. It is the difference between your ego and your income. We live in a world that evaluates success based on visible indicators like cars, homes, and luxury brands because we cannot see into each other's bank accounts or brokerage statements. But if we look at the statistical reality of how freedom is actually built, a very different picture emerges. Most millionaires did not do anything impressive while they were getting wealthy. They did not have breakthrough ideas or perfectly timed investments. In fact, a Federal Reserve survey of over 500,000 households proved that becoming a millionaire is usually the result of a few boring, repeatable habits that your brain is currently hardwired to resist. If you are a beginner who feels frustrated, a corporate professional tired of the rat race, or a student looking at the current economy with anxiety, you are likely one decision away from a different life. That decision starts with understanding that you are participating in an automatic economy. This is a system designed specifically to separate you from your wealth before you even see your paycheck. From subscription services to lifetime value marketing for lotions and potions, the modern economy has a plan for your money. If you do not have a plan of your own, you are being left behind. 7 out of 10 people in the United States currently live paycheck to paycheck, not because of a lack of intelligence, but because they are losing a subconscious war against their own biology. To win this war, we have synthesized the data from the world's most respected financial minds. From the debt elimination discipline of Dave Ramsey to the psychological insights of Morgan Housel and Daniel Kahneman. We have built a framework for what we call financial unbreakability. This is a strategy that prioritizes survival over high returns so that you never have to sell your assets during a market crash or an emergency. It is a system that works whether you are $800,000 in debt or earning a comfortable 6-figure salary. The first pillar of this framework is the surplus mandate. Wealth is mathematically impossible without a capital surplus. Most people work from 9 to 5 and the first things they do is pay the bank, the landlord, and the utility company. They wait until the end of the month to see what is left to save, which is a recipe for failure. Instead, you must adopt the 1-hour rule. You must pay yourself for the first hour of your day before anyone else takes a cent. This equals exactly 12.5% of your gross income. If you think you cannot afford this, you are actually reacting to a no-plan plan. Consider this. If your employer told you today that the company was struggling and they had to cut your pay by 10%, or they would have to let you go, you would find a way to make it work. You would adjust your lifestyle because you had to. Why would you take a 10% pay cut for a corporation, but refuse to give yourself a 12% raise for your future freedom? This brings us to the second pillar, the automation engine. Building wealth is not about willpower. It is about behavior. Human thought is divided into 2 systems. System 1 is automatic and emotional, relying on mental shortcuts. System 2 is slow, logical, and requires conscious effort. Over 95% of our financial decisions are made by System 1, which overreacts to market fluctuations and falls for impulsive spending. Automation allows you to use your System 2 brain to override your System 1 impulses. By setting up automatic transfers to your savings and investment accounts the moment your paycheck arrives, you remove decision fatigue. This is often called a reverse budget. You automate your essentials and your wealth building first, and then you are allowed to spend the remaining balance guilt-free. The third pillar is the boring portfolio. There is a common frustration called the optimization trap, where people spend years looking for the perfect stock or the newest crypto trend. However, the data from 565,000 401k millionaires shows that real-world wealth is remarkably plain. Most of these individuals hold broad index funds or target date funds. They are not stock-picking geniuses. They are disciplined participants in the 2 escalators of wealth, real estate and stocks. The goal of a boring portfolio is not to outsmart the market, but to stay exposed to business growth and keep contributing regardless of market conditions. In year 5 of your journey, the difference between a flashy strategy and a boring one is barely noticeable. By year 30, the gap is enormous. Consistency beats cleverness every single time. We are now at the midpoint of this blueprint, and this is where most people quit. They quit because of a psychological phenomenon known as the silence. For the first decade, sometimes longer, almost nothing seems to change. You are saving while your friends are upgrading their cars. You are staying invested while the headlines are screaming about a market crash. You are controlling your housing costs while your neighbors are renovating. During this time, you will constantly wonder if it is actually working because you cannot see the results yet. This is the real test of wealth. It is not about intelligence. It is about the willingness to keep doing something boring long enough to find out if it works. To survive this period of silence, you need to guard against lifestyle creep. We recommend using the price tag rule. This is a simple psychological hack to kill impulsive spending. Before you buy any non-essential item, try to estimate the price without looking at the tag. If the actual price is higher than your internal valuation of what that item is worth to you, you must leave it behind. This forces you to prioritize purchases based on their true value to your life, rather than the temporary dopamine hit of a purchase. This rule helps you manage what we call housing gravity. Millionaire households are more likely to buy a starter home once and stay put. Housing is like gravity. The heavier it is, the harder every other financial goal becomes. This leads into the fourth pillar, understanding the price of admission. Most videos on finance teach you how to get money, but they rarely teach you how to handle the emotional cost of keeping it. You must reframe market volatility. It is not a fine for being wrong. It is an admission fee for long-term returns. If you are not willing to pay the fee of uncertainty and temporary loss, you do not get the prize of compounding. Most people panic and sell during a market dip because they feel the pain of a loss twice as strongly as the joy of a gain. This is myopic loss aversion. By understanding this bias, you can stay invested while others are running for the exits. The fifth pillar is handling the end of history illusion. This is the tendency to believe that the person you are today is the person you will be for the rest of your life. In reality, your desires and goals will change completely every decade. A financial plan that is too rigid will eventually feel like a prison. You need a plan that is good enough to account for your future self's changing needs. This means saving without a specific purpose. Saving for the sake of saving creates flexibility. It gives you a buffer against unpredictable life events and allows you to seize opportunities that you cannot even imagine yet. This brings us to a unique perspective on debt and leverage. While some experts believe debt is always the enemy and others believe it is a tool for scale, the truth depends on your level of financial literacy. If you are buried in credit card debt and living paycheck to paycheck, the Ramsey doctrine of total debt elimination is your best path. It provides the clarity and dopamine hits you need to dig out. However, once you have established your safety net and automated your surplus, you can begin to look at debt through the lens of leverage. But remember, the goal is always financial unbreakability. You should never use leverage in a way that risks your entire foundation. True wealth is the highest dividend money can pay, control over your time. Independence is the highest tool money can buy. Every dollar you do not spend on status is a point in the future you are buying back for yourself. Freedom is not about doing nothing, it is about doing things on your own terms. The math of wealth building is the easy part. The hard part is building a life where you do not have to be exceptional to win. You just have to be consistent. Stop trying to be a financial mutant who outsmarts the world. Start by automating just $10 today. Take control of your financial destiny and stop letting your brain's ancient survival instincts kill your future freedom. Choose yourself, start the process, and stay in the game long enough for these boring habits to do what they have always done. We will see you on the other side of the silence.